Kevin Sidebottom, and I'm a speaker, author, and trainer on the Sales Process Uncovered. I go around the country and I teach sales organizations how to install a sales process so that way all of their teams are actually moving forward together fast and hitting sales goals. Also help leadership teams use the same thing to build influence with those that work for them so that way they have stronger morale, more engagement. So today, I want to talk to you about how to build a sales process. That's right. We're going to explore how to build it. And we're going to answer those 5 buying decisions that the customer have. All right. So let's get into how to build your sales process. Number one thing we have to do is have a sales process that answers the 5 buying decisions. Now, the number one buying decision is the salesperson. Yeah, you heard me right. It's actually not the product and service. It's actually the salesperson. Kind of hard to believe, but here's the deal. When we interact with somebody for the first time, second time, third time, we're asking 3 questions. Do I like you? Do I trust you? And how can you help me? And they're asking that as salespeople. Well, that's the initial starting point of any relationship. And if they don't trust you and they don't like you, well, they're going to go down to the competition and buy a similar product and service because they'll think of it as a commodity. And the only differentiating factor in a commodity is price. So we need to make sure that we are answering the first buying decision for the customer. Now, typically in some sales trainings that I've been through and that I know are out there, they talk about quickly go in and build rapport. And they tell you rapport is look around the room, find something in common with the person in their office, and talk about it. Well, that's not really in-depth rapport. And it doesn't work if someone comes into your store and you're selling TVs. It's hard to build that kind of rapport. You can start with a smile and, start talking to them, but unless, you know some stuff about them, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. So by asking questions about them, getting their names and repeating that, and I teach this in the sales process, how to really focus on the customer to build rapport, it actually helps you. So I'm going to walk through with the customer, understand who they are, what their situation is, what their timelines are, and how they need help. So we want to build this in because if we don't do this right, well, again, they're not going to buy from us. All right, so we need to make sure that the salesperson is hitting the mark when it comes to building rapport with the customer. And we're going to ask tons of questions. We're going to really understand people. Hopefully you have a customer relationship management tool you use. Maybe it's a pad of paper when you're talking with the people. But all sophisticated systems definitely have this process built in of asking a lot of questions. And that's basically how you build rapport. Okay, so we're going to get through that, and our sales process has to answer that first buying decision. The second buying decision that the customer has is the organization. Yep, that's right. It's not the product yet. It's the organization. So your process has to make sure that it's selling the organization before they sell the product and service, because they want to make sure that when they're buying from you, that your organization is going to be there. Because typically the salesperson does the transaction and they move off, but they need to know who's going to back them up if there's an issue, that warranty or service, that the organization is going to be there to help them. Because again, we don't want to be considered a commodity, or else people are just going to shop price all day long. So we need to make sure that the organization is meeting their needs as well. So we need to find out what is very big as far as a need when it comes to organizations. How much support does the customer need? Okay? So that we get through that, we actually finally sell the product. And that's right, we sell the product finally. And I know you're going to be like, I got this, but hear me out here. We don't want to sell features and benefits when we're selling the product. Customers don't care about that. I know some salespeople go, oh no, I just spit them off like, they're a shotgun blast all over a wall and hopefully one of those, sinks in. That is not what sells the customer. When they feel like they've been known and heard and that we're answering those needs that the customer has, then they're going to buy from us and they're going to buy that product. But if we're just shooting off and hopefully something's going to stick at a wall, we're not going to make the sale. We need to make sure that in the process, early on, we're asking those questions so when it comes to selling, we can actually hit this. Now, when we want to build this part of the sales process and we're selling the product, it's good time to have the team come in, or the sales team, to go over how to sell effectively. That's where like having a trainer come in or a coach really brings this together, because team members will come in and go, wow, I never really thought of selling it that way. And this guy will take this tidbit and this guy will take this tidbit, and they'll draft it into the sales process. So that way you guys have a common language. It's good to have collaboration here. So when you're building that, this is where you want to bring everybody in. Now, we answer selling the product, right? Now we're getting into the fourth buying decision, which is the price. Here's where you typically get objections from the customer. If you haven't sold everything correctly, haven't met all their needs, that's where you're going to see them go, I don't know that I'm ready to buy yet. Well, this is where you double back into the sales process and know where you're supposed to go back to make sure that we're verifying the right needs and making sure we're hitting those. Now, I'll give you a little tidbit here. And big deals where there are multi-million, multi-year contracts, the sales process is actually a lot longer than, say someone coming in to buy an iPhone. Someone coming in to buy an iPhone already kind of knows what they want. It's a lower investment, and they just buy. And then if they're doing payments, which I don't agree with, it's even easier to buy. Now, if we're actually going off and selling a big product or service, like robotic systems and whatnot for big manufacturing products, well, guess what? It's going to take a little bit longer. So your process needs to know what it's getting into and adapt to how long that sales process is going to be. And we want to make sure that we're hitting that well. And when we sell the price, if we've done all that, they'll say yes and move on to the last buying decision, which is time to buy. Because maybe they don't have their budgets in time yet, which we should already know when they're going to plan on buying, and it can change. So we need to be asking these questions throughout the sales process to understand their timelines if they're still lining up. Maybe the company is going to delay a purchase until Q1 the next year if they're in Q4 because they want to save some money to look better for their investors. We need to understand when they're going to buy because it can be delayed a little bit. But we can also get letters of intent, LOIs, and stuff like that to be able to secure things. So that way we're moving forward and kicking off our product to meet their timing. So we're hitting their timing, and then, typically a salesperson walks away. Well, in my sales process training, I actually teach you a couple extra steps in the sales process to make you a rock star. And here's where the rubber meets the road. If the customer is not successful with your product and service, they won't be buying from you again. So we need to make sure that we're setting them up for success. What are we doing to make sure that they're successful? So when you're building your sales process, what things can you do to help them be successful in the future? Now, if you have any questions about building a sales process, obviously I'm here to help you. I've developed a sales process that can be easily installed into your product and service and get the whole team selling effectively. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I have links below this video. I do multiple of these videos to train. And if you like this video, like and subscribe. It helps other people get to see this, and it'll help them too. All right? See you next time.